Welcome, disciples of the internet, to the Squeakquel, and this time the pain of recreating entire 2D platformers in Mario Maker 2 is doubled as we jump from 18 to 16 bits. Super Mario Bros. 3 to Super Mario World. If you haven't seen any of my other videos of this genre, you already get the gist, but if not, I'm basically trying to one-to-one recreate every single level of Super Mario World with the limited tools I'm provided with Mario Maker 2. If you want to see the Mario 3 version of the series, click on the reference card that will direct you to the first video of said series. Our first world of the game is Yoshi's Island. Dang, deforestation really did a number on this place. One more shameless promotion before the video begins, however, make sure to subscribe and toll the notification bell to view even more jelly-infused content. Yoshi's house, technically the first level of the game, you may even wonder why it would be worth it at all to replicate it if it serves basically no gameplay purpose. Well, I made it anyway. You got your furnace, some apples, and the new addition of an end goal. Mario World also gives the player tips in the forms of these unique floating speaker boxes. Whenever there's one of these boxes, I just use note blocks as they both technically make noise. But in terms of power-ups and coins, there's quite literally nothing since the IRS got there first. Yoshi's Island 1, this seemingly normal level does actually have a gimmick of taking normal vertical objects and tilting them, like semi-solids, pipes, and my neck. Mario Maker 2 has slopes, but only ground slopes, meaning that for semi-solids, strange hybrids needed to be made for each individual case. The next difference is evident. If you don't jump in the first 2 seconds of the level, Koopas can crawl outside their shells and just leave them behind. In Mario Maker 2, the Koopas will always have their shell before you jump on them, so they cannot really slip on slopes. At the top of this slope is also a Dragon Coin, which are basically the collectibles of this game. I could have used red coins, but that's boring. Instead, since there are 5 Dragon Coins in most levels, 2 of them will be 10 coins, 2 of them will be 30 coins, and 1 would be a 50 coin. The coins will be chosen based on which ones I think are harder than the others, and I will accept no comments about my coin placement decisions. The main enemy in this level is a dinosaur, since we are on Yoshi's Island, I guess. I used red Koopas to replace them since you technically have to bounce on them twice, and they also have red shoes. Trust me, it makes sense. Very quickly into the level is our first diagonal pipe, and these new versions look really out of place and you can't even be shot out of them. Around these pipes are usually mini pipes, which remind me of a certain theme. Near the end is a problem that I rarely ever faced in Mario 3. Most of these levels are too long for one single sub area, so usually there will have to be a big wall with a pipe about 3/4 of the way through the level. Right above the level is a moon, which grants the player 3 lives. Since there isn't a cape on this level, you won't be able to get up here anyways, but I still put 3 1-ups up there just for closure. The very end of this level is a charging Chuck. He and his variants appear very frequently throughout the game. The best possible replacement for him is Boom Boom. They look similar, and you have to stomp on their heads 3 times to defeat them. Yellow Switch Palace. This level is more of a commodity than anything else. You get some coins, stomp on a switch, and every dotted yellow block is filled in. And since there is no way to carry progress between levels of Mario Maker 2, these blocks will always be missing, so this level serves even less purpose. And since there are no invisible coins in this game, a few of them will have to be missed out on to prevent an obvious soft lock. The titular yellow switch itself is now 1/4 the size, and you are not even required to hit it in order to finish the level. Yoshi's Island 2, I personally thank this level for featuring no diagonal objects like the last main level. Buzz is our first appearance of Yoshi, who is much less talkative this time around, as he knows what is coming and nothing he could say could stop it. At the second half of this level are some Monty moles that are now legally obligated to come out of the floor this time, and since the sub area is now near the end of the level, some small interlude sections are needed as there's no room in our first sub area. And in the sub area itself there are some Koopas this time, just so Luigi can have something to throw at the question blocks. Yoshi's Island 3, now we're on to a mountain themed area, and thankfully the desert theme in Mario Maker 2 is also a mountain for some reason. I used chains and unstable blue platforms to try to emulate gravity as best as I could, and I didn't bother doing anything with the 5 block platforms as the chains could not fit in all 5 blocks, and at that point it would just be obtuse. The lava in this underground section is now replaced with spikes because this level is also too long to fit in one single sub area. At the very end of this level is also one of these green blocks that give you a 1-up if you collected enough coins in the level. I don't really have a good way to test for that, so we'll just have to use the honor system. And if you break it, you are banned from the Mickey Mouse Club for inappropriate behavior. Yoshi's Island 4, the first main level that is short and enough to fit in one sub-area. The main area of this level is water, which means the jungle theme must be used, and this time it is actually a jungle. The semi-solids of this level are now mushroom platforms, but that is fine as there's basically no difference gameplay-wise between them. You may also notice the chains connected to the front and back at the bottom of the water, and that is so these giant spike balls do not just float to the bottom. This level is so short, it's kind of strange why they even bothered putting dragon coins here. The first two are literally only 10 blocks away from each other. Iggy's Castle. There's not a single area of this level where the gameplay is preserved from the original. The first chunk has a bunch of chain-linked fences that the player can climb, so I had to place these chain semi-solids wherever they were in the original level, then put vines over each individual space. But there are also Koopas that climb on the fences, so Koopas have to be put on chains on the vines on the semi-solids. The next room is even worse since there are giant hammers that descend from the ceiling, so there needs to be even more chains and hard blocks, but since they load in at different times, it can lead to some wacky patterns. The boss of this level also takes place on a semi-solid platform over lava where the player has to bounce on Iggy until he falls off the ledge. A seesaw in Mario Maker 2 can represent the gravity of the platform, but now Iggy has no sense of self-preservation and sometimes just willingly jumps to his death. After tipping the axe, we have killed our first infantile reptile and can now move on to Donut Land. So that was the first 7 quote-unquote levels of Super Mario World recreated in Mario Maker 2. After I recreate the Star World, I'll give the ultimate ranking of every level just as I did in Mario 3, but for now, I will just rank every level in this world. Number 7, Iggy's Castle. Number 6, Yoshi's Island 1. Number 5, Yellow Switch Palace. Number 4, Yoshi's House. Number 3, Yoshi's Island 3. Number 2, Yoshi's Island 2. And number 1, Yoshi's Island 4. Thanks for viewing the process behind my recreations and the ensuing ranking, and if you want to view even more levels of Super Mario World recreated in Mario Maker 2, or just more jelly-soaked sleep paralysis demon fuel, stick around.